30 minutes long, and it's appropriate for all levels, including beginners. I'll do my best to offer variations, and I encourage you to practice with curiosity, exploring the variations that feel just right to you. Also, feel free to opt out of any movement that does not feel just right in your own body. Grab your chair and come up to sit. Let's begin in a neutral position with the feet about hips-width distance apart and parallel to one another, the sitting bones grounded, and the spine nice and long. Bring some energy into your belly. The sideways draws in towards the navel, and from there lift up. And feel that upward lift moving right through the center of the body, up to the back of the neck and up and out through the crown of the head. And resting your hands on your thighs, just begin to roll your shoulders really gently. Roll forward and up and then back and down. Taking your time here, just exploring some gentle movement, noticing where there's tension, noticing what resists, without any expectation, finding the full range of your movement, but without forcing anything. And after a few rounds, change direction. Let the shoulders peel back and lift up, and roll the shoulders forward and down, and continue. Again, practicing with curiosity, looking for sensation, and finding the full range of your movement without forcing anything. Finally, shrug your shoulders high beside the ears and let the shoulders drop down. And let's do that a few times. Lift the shoulders high and release the shoulders down. One more. Lift the shoulders high and release the shoulders down. Now gather your hands to your heart and press palm to palm. Try and press the heels of the hands into one another, or if they don't touch when the elbows come wide, press them towards one another. The fingers are spread wide, and really press palm to palm. Lift the heart into the hands. This creates an isometric energy where there's force against force, so nothing is moving, but press hard enough that you feel engagement across the back of the heart. Keep strong in your belly so the spine stays nice and long. Feel length and lift up through the back of the neck. Just a few more breaths, pressing and engaging those muscles, the core muscles of the shoulders. Inhale and exhale, just to release the hands back down to the thighs. Notice if you feel kind of heat or resonance in the shoulders, or maybe you just feel a little bit more aware or alive in the upper back. Now drop your chin down towards the notch of the throat. Don't force anything, but find the full range of that movement and feel the weight of the head heavy. Receive a few rounds of breath here, breathing into the space at the back of the heart. And now we'll extend the neck, so we'll look up towards the sky. You want to be really gentle here, not to just throw the weight of the head back, but to lift the chin towards the ceiling actively, to feel that stretch in the front of the neck. Lifting up and continuing to breathe. And then bring your gaze back to neutral. And as you're ready, turn your gaze over your right shoulder. Without forcing, gaze as far to the right as you can. And wherever you stop is fine. Turn the gaze even within the sockets of the eyes, all the way into the far right corner of the eyes, so that you can see back behind you or as far to your right as possible. And then shift your gaze back through center, nice and slow, just like you're taking a panoramic video. Turn your gaze all the way over the left shoulder. And peeking to your left, finding as far into your peripheral vision as you can, even the gaze within the sockets of the eyes to the left corner. And bring your gaze right back through center. Now once again, let's roll the shoulders, and we'll see if we have a little bit more freedom of movement here. If we have a little bit more mobility, or maybe more awareness of sensation. After a few rounds, go the other way. Circle back, up, forward, and down, and continue. Shrug your shoulders high, release your shoulders down. Draw your chin towards the notch of the throat, and now tuck your pelvis under. Point the tailbone between the knees. Take your hands down towards your knees and press your back ribs towards the back of the chair. Breathe here, expanding the back ribs back towards the chair back and lengthening the muscles along the spine. As you inhale, tilt the pelvis forward, lift and open through the chest, roll the shoulders back, and gently arch the spine. And now feeling that space from the pubic bone all the way up to the sternum lengthen. And then we'll go back and forth with an exhale. Round your spine, guiding the tail between the knees. Squeeze empty. Inhale, tilt the pelvis forward. Lift and open through the chest. Roll the shoulders back. And continue arching and rounding the spine with the rhythm of your breath. Take your time and explore this movement with curiosity. The next time you inhale, lifting your heart, stay there. Take your hands all the way up towards the hip points and squeeze the elbows in like they could touch behind you. Take your hands down to the edge of your chair, either beside your hips or behind the hips. Wherever you are, squeeze the elbows towards one another and root into your sitting bones to lift up through your chest. Keep your abdominal muscles gently engaged. There's still that feeling of pulling in towards the navel as you lift up through the heart. And then begin to hinge and fold, reaching your heart away from your hips to fold. Take the hands to the thighs, keep reaching heart away from hips, and finally let all of that effort go. Take the hands as low as feels safe to you. So for some people, you might stay on the knees or thighs, and if you'd like to go deeper and you feel safe to do so, take the hands to the shins or the ankles or maybe even to the floor. Now continue to feel a sense of grounding and rooting in the feet, and feel yourself grounded in the backs of the thighs. And as you're ready, inhale, lift your hands to your knees and lengthen just halfway up. You'll have to engage your abdominal muscles and use that strength to keep the spine nice and long. With your exhale, hinge more deeply and release your hands down low. Wherever they were initially is where they'll come back to. Inhale, hands to shins or knees, lengthen halfway up, real strong in the belly. Exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale, rise halfway up. Breathing here, guiding your tailbone back, lengthening out through the very crown of your head, engaging your abdominal muscles to keep the spine nice and long. Breathe a few rounds of breath here. Take your time, feel that effort, and as you exhale, let all that go and let the fold be more passive. No effort, head heavy, arms heavy. With the head falling heavy, it might feel nice to rock your head side to side, as if to say no thank you, or to shake your head yes, as if to say yes please. Letting go of tension in the neck and tension in the jaw. And then take your hands up to your thighs and press into your feet. Slowly ripple your way up to sit and roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Release your arms long beside you. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Arms beside the ears. Drop your shoulder blades down and again engage your belly so the spine is nice and long. Keep all this length through the sides of the body, but be mindful not to shrug your shoulders high beside the ears. Take your left hand to your left hip as you're ready. Lift up through your right arm and lean to your left. Tucking the chin, take a look at that right knee. You want to try and keep your knees level with one another. So notice if the right knee is inching forward of the left, and if it is, guide the right hip back just a bit. Keep rooted down into your right foot and right sitting bone and breathe into the whole right side as you lift up and lean over to your left. And then rise right up to center. Arms sweep beside the ears, lift up. Exhale, left hand to left hip. Right hand to right hip. And reach up through the left fingertips. Inhale here, exhale, lift up and lean over towards your right side. Tuck your chin and look towards that left knee or thigh. Ground down into your left foot and left sitting bone and breathe into the left side ribs. As you're ready, rise all the way up, both arms beside the ears and bend the elbows. Take the hands to the back of the head. Feel the elbows open wide, feel the shoulder blades press more deeply into the back, and allow the shoulder blades to slide down towards the low back. Lift up through the crown of the head, inhale, and as you exhale, twist to your right. Lifting through the crown of the head with each inhale, and exhaling, find a little more rotation over to your right side. Inhale, lift tall. Exhale, ring out. Keep both sitting bones grounded, and do your best to keep the knees in line so we keep the pelvis in a neutral orientation. Inhale. With your next exhale, open the arms wide. Now bring the left hand right in between the knees. Go ahead and walk your feet towards one another, squeezing the inner thighs into that left hand. And bring your right hand behind you. So now you do have the leverage of the arms. As you grow tall, inhale. And as you exhale, ring out. Open your heart towards the right side. Soften both shoulders down and keep the back of the neck nice and long, relaxing the face and relaxing the jaw. Turn your gaze all the way back over the right shoulder. Again, reaching into that peripheral vision, even the gaze within the sockets of the eyes, moving to the far right corner. Softening both shoulders down, and especially that left shoulder to create a stretch to the left side of the neck. And then let's unravel and come right back through center. Separate your feet, hips width. Release your arms. Bringing the arms out and up, lift up. Bend the elbows, take the hands to the back of the head. So the elbows open wide. The crown of the head lifts tall. Keep energy in your belly. Inhale, exhale, twist to your left. So we'll continue here to twist to the left. Each inhale is a little bit more lift and length. Each exhale is a little bit more rotation over to that left side. Using our obliques, our waist muscles, side abdominals, in order to rotate the spine. And we'll do our best to stay rooted and grounded in our foundation so that the lower half of the body doesn't come along for the ride here with us. Finally, open your arms wide and take the right hand in between the thighs. Walk the feet towards one another and squeeze the inner thighs into the hand. The left hand comes behind you on your seat. Grow tall with an inhale. Twist with your exhale. Open your heart to the left. And turn your gaze all the way back over the shoulder behind you. Continue to gaze back and to peek into the far left corner of your eyes. Softening your right shoulder down and stretching through that right side of the neck. And then unravel all of that. Come back through center. Roll your shoulders. Now separate your feet. We'll start to stretch the inner thighs and find external rotation in the hips. The knees stack over the ankles. Ground down into the feet, even the outer edge. Gently press the backs of your hands into the inner thighs as you press your thighs into your hands. Notice how that activates the lower body. Now press down into the feet and root down into your sitting bones as you grow tall. Engage your belly, keeping the spine nice and long. And now let's see if we can release the hands and press palm to palm once again. Elbows out wide, lift the heart into the hands, and press hard enough that you feel engagement across the back of the heart. So even though we're perfectly still, we could break a sweat here. We're pressing the feet into the floor, we're rooting the sitting bones into the chair. From there, we're growing tall, long through the spine, and then we're pressing palm to palm really actively to energize the core muscles of the shoulders. Once more, inhale. As you exhale, open your arms out to a goalpost shape, and then take your right forearm to the right thigh and reach through that left arm, straight up towards the ceiling, and then over to your right. Take a peek at your left foot and knee. See if you can keep that left knee over the ankle. If it falls in, continue to externally rotate, rooting the outer edge of the foot as best you can. Lift up and out through the left fingertips and rise up as you're ready. This is called a goddess pose with the elbows bent. Flip that left palm and reach up through the right fingertips. And then take the right arm beside the right ear. Grounding into your right sitting bone, and notice if the right knee drops in. Do your best to find the pinky side of the foot making contact with the floor. Lengthening through your right side and continuing to breathe. Come back to goddess pose once more, elbows bent, and then take your hands to your thighs. Take your hands to the thighs with the fingers pointing down and the heels of the hands resting on the thighs, and hinge forward just a little bit, like a 45-degree angle here. Now your hands on your thighs can encourage the inner thighs to stretch. You can actually press the knees away. You can encourage the external rotation a little bit. And from there, we're going to find more rotation in the spine. Lengthen your spine as you inhale. Reach your crown of the head away from the tailbone. And exhale to drop the left shoulder in and look towards your right side. Inhale through center. Exhale, drop the right shoulder in, look to the left. Inhale through center. Exhale, gaze to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale, gaze to the left. Inhale through center. Gaze to the right and pause here. So let's pause, opening the heart towards the right. Try and find just a little bit more length in your spine, reaching out through the crown of your head and rolling the left side ribs towards the right. Keep the breath moving. As you inhale, come back through center, and exhale, drop the right shoulder, look to the left, breathe here. Lengthening the spine and wrapping the right side ribs towards the left. Feel that rotation. Come on back through center as you're ready. Sit up nice and tall, roll the shoulders, and then bring awareness to your right ankle, right foot. You're going to lift that heel right up off of the floor and circle the ball of the foot on the floor. If you feel like this right foot is too wide and you can't quite get over to the edge of the foot, just shift it in just a little bit. So we're bringing more awareness to the ankle and the foot, but we're also getting a little bit deeper rotation here, external rotation in the hip. And we're also strengthening the arch of the foot and strengthening the ankle. So after a few rounds, change direction, go the other way. And then lift the knee high and release it. Lift it high and release it. And continue to lift it high and release it. Notice when you lift it high, notice what activates. Notice what feels grounded. Right? Keep strong in your belly and try and keep your spine nice and tall, nice and long. Good. And then lowering the heel, you're going to extend the leg long and make a circle with the ankle. One direction and then the other. And then extend the leg long, flex the foot, and breathe. Just breathe here. Keep the leg long, stretch through the calf muscles, stretch through the inner thigh a bit. Keep the rest of you upright and long, and finally bend the knee. So just bring some awareness there. Is there a sense of tingling, of vibration? Is there no difference between sides? Do you have maybe a greater awareness on this side? Or can you feel your breath more deeply on one side than the other? Just interesting to see how we feel between sides, so we can kind of notice the effect of our practice as it's unfolding. Bring awareness over to your left, lift the heel and lower, lift the heel up. We're going to circle the ball of this foot on the floor as we did the other side. So try and find both the inner and the outer edge. Take your time. Feel the movement up in the hip, feel the arch of the foot lift, and then change direction. So we're really getting curious about some more subtle movements and more subtle areas of the body than maybe we pay attention to on a regular basis. Okay, then lift the heel and let it go, And you're going to stretch through that left leg. And then draw it in. Stretch through the leg. And draw it in. And stretch through and hold. Grounding into both sitting bones. Flex the foot. Sit up tall. Feel calf muscles stretch. Maybe the inner thigh. And then we'll let it go. And notice how you feel. Take your hands beside or behind your hips. Windshield wiper. Side to side. And in this windshield wiper movement, if you feel safe to be on the edge of your chair, you will feel more internal rotation. So this is internal rotation when the thigh bone is rolling in. Internal rotation. Just noticing that sensation side to side. Now walk your feet in towards one another. Come on up to stand. We'll come to stand in front of the seat of the chair with the hands on the chair, armpits stacking right over wrists. Heel toe your feet, or just shift the weight so that you bring your feet wide. They were neutral, they were hips width, and now they're wide, wider than the chair legs if possible. Make sure you feel safe. So for some people, the feet will be maybe just a little bit wider than hips width, and that's okay. Whatever you have is fine. Armpits stack right over the wrists. Okay. Grounding into your feet. To begin, bring your feet to a position where they're parallel to one another. Okay, you can take a look at your feet and see where you're at. Okay. Now, breathing here. This may be where you land. We're practicing a wide-legged forward fold. Ground into the balls of the feet and the heels. Feel the pelvis tilting forward just enough to bring the sacrum, that's this flat bone here at the base of the spine, to a position where it's level with the ceiling. If you feel like you could go a little deeper, like you want to hinge further to get more stretch in the backs of the legs, inner thighs, and low back, then walk your hands towards the back of your chair. Maybe one handprint, maybe two handprints. See how you feel. If you feel like you want more sensation, bend your elbows and lower down even further. If your elbows are on the chair and you're hinging at your hips, tailbone lifting high, and you feel like you want to go a little further, spread your elbows wider and stack one fist on top of the other fist. Let your forehead rest on the fists. If you wanted to go even further, place one palm on top of the other and lower your forehead to the backs of the hands. Now, wherever you are is perfectly fine, whether your arms are long or you're hinging more deeply. If you're having trouble hinging at your hips, and if you feel really stuck, like your low back is rounding like mine is right now, try bending your knees a little bit, and then see if your pelvis might tilt forward just a little bit more. Wherever you're at is where you're working. Find your edge of movement, that edge of sensation, and breathe there. That's how we create more space and release tension, by finding the edge and breathing into it. And wherever you are, start to climb up. So if your forearms are on the chair, take your time, get your palms right under your shoulders here. Now take a look down at your feet. You're going to bring your heels in slightly so that the toes turn out slightly. So think about how like ballerinas would stand with their toes turned out. Yours don't have to be cranked way far, just what's appropriate for you, okay? Because we want the knees to stay in line with the feet. And now we'll bend into one knee and then the other. Bend your right knee, straighten your left leg. Bend your left knee, straighten your right leg. Take your time, gliding side to side, side lunge. Moving with breath if that feels appropriate. Only bending as deep as feels just right in your own body. And I'm going to offer the variation of keeping this movement dynamic. That means you'll continue to move side to side, or coming into a more stationary movement, a position rather. So if you choose to keep it dynamic, continue, or bend into that right knee and keep the knee bent. Now try and keep your knee stacked over your ankle, and you can slide this chair closer if you need more support, or move it further away if it's in your way. It's your choice. But keeping that right knee bent, breathe here, left leg long. And just like when we were folding forward with the legs long, you have the option of staying arms long, or walking your hands towards the chair back and hinging more deeply. Maybe lowering the forearms to the chair and hinging more deeply. So each time you lower down, you're going to work to lift your tailbone, tilt your pelvis, and lengthen your spine. And you also have the option to go a little further. Stack your forehead on top of your fists or the backs of the hands and breathe into sensation. Wherever you are is a good place to be. Find the sensation that feels intense, but that you can continue to breathe into, and stick with it. Steady breaths. Now as we start to come up, climb again onto your palms. Lengthen your right leg, bend your left knee. Take your time. We're going to go through those same options, and this side might be totally different. So the body is not usually perfectly symmetrical. So breathing here, you can stay with your arms long. You can lower to forearms. You can stack fists and place the head on top, or place your forehead on your hands. In any of these variations, bending the left knee so it stacks over the ankle, working to tilt your pelvis forward, and breathing into sensation. And if you find yourself in a shape that you can't breathe into, back out of that shape and find your breath. That's the most important thing. Finally, lengthen your left leg long, climb back up onto your palms, and press your heels outward so the feet are either parallel or the toes turn in slightly. Now, you can stay on your palms. If you felt really at ease on your forearms, you might like to lower to forearms again. Palms or forearms, wherever you are. Move your right hand or elbow towards the center line of your chair, and take your left hand to the left hip. Lengthen tailbone back, crown of head forward, and then open your heart towards your left side. The left hand slides to the low back, so you want to feel that the sacrum at your low back, and try and feel how the sacrum, that the sacrum is level. If you're dropping one hip down way low, you're going to notice that you can't balance a bowl of M&Ms on this low back, and then you'll lift that right hip up if that's the case for you. You want the sacrum to be level so that this rotation happens more in the thoracic spine, in the mid-back. Heart lifts towards the left. Now, lots of people are going to feel you want to keep the left hand on the sacrum or the hip, and that's fine. If your shoulder is really open and it would feel good to reach that right arm up towards the ceiling, you can do that too. That's an option. In either case, keep your belly really strong. Pull in, lengthen, and then lift the arm if you are choosing to lift it. If the arm is lifted, let's go ahead and lower it, and everyone bring the right hand, bring the left hand or forearm back down to the chair. And we'll move over to the other side. So if you're on your palms, left palm comes in towards center, right hand comes to hip. If you're on the forearms, shift your elbow towards center. Lengthen your spine, try and level out the low back, and then roll your heart towards the right. For some of us, it's going to be a small movement, right? Opening the heart, but you'll feel it. You'll feel the effort in the waist, and you'll feel a little bit more open across the chest. Your right hand on your right hip or your low back, breathing here. And for those of you who would feel really good to lift the right fingertips to the sky, you can go ahead and do that. And breathe as you open your heart to the right side. Lift up as you inhale. Release that right hand down with your exhale. Take your time, palms or forearms, and slowly climb back onto the palms. Heel toe your feet towards one another. And then ground into the heels. And ripple up to sand. Ooh, my head goes missing as I stand up. Now come to sit. All right. Sitting bones root. Grow tall. Before we conclude, one more hip opener, and there's two options here. Beginning with your right side, you're going to open up this right hip. Actually, there's a few options. If your hips are very tight, you have a lot of, you have very limited range of movement here, that's okay. Any movement, any way we can open it is going to be a productive movement. So if that's the case for you, maybe you're just right here. Let the knee drift open, rest on the pinky edge of your right foot. If you can get a little bit more open than that, you think, stack the left knee over the ankle, cross your right ankle in front of the left. Then you can use your hand. Inner thigh wraps up, outer thigh wraps out and down. Okay, there, that's where you're at. If you feel like you could go a little further, lift right ankle, rest it on left knee or thigh. This is a figure 4. You might have a lot of tension and this knee might be lifting up. That's okay. You just do your best. Breathe into it. Take a hand, not on the knee, but on the thigh bone right beneath the hip. Encourage the outer thigh to roll out and down. And from there, grow tall and breathe. My foot is flexed. See that? Flex your foot. Stay active. And you could sit up tall, or if you have a figure 4 and you feel safe to hinge forward, a really subtle hinge. Each inhale is length. Each exhale, hinge. Breathe into sensation. And take your time to rise all the way up. Unravel your legs and let that go. Left side, right? Maybe you're very, very tight in the hip. You'll open up this way. A little bit more. Cross left ankle in front of right ankle. Use your hands to help you wrap your inner thigh up, outer thigh out and down. Little bit more mobility. Stack left ankle on top of right. Ground down to grow tall. Flex the foot. Encourage the outer thigh to roll out and down, not forcing, a little bit of encouragement with your hand on the outer thigh. You could grow tall, sit tall, or you could begin to hinge and fold. If you feel safe to do that, breathe into sensation. Take your time. And slowly rise up. Unravel your legs. Take your hands to either side or behind the hips. Walk your feet wide. Take a few breaths just to windshield wiper the knees side to side, to move through any other transitional movement that would feel good, just to kind of reset. And then come to sit. Slide back into your chair back. As we conclude this practice, take the hands to the body. 1 to heart, 1 to abdomen. Sit up tall. Feel the heartbeat, feel the breath. Invite in a feeling of gratitude. We've entered gratitude season. Thank yourself for taking the time to practice today. And thank your body for carrying you through all those efforts. And as you're ready, inhale to lift your heart and gaze. Invite goodness and light. And exhale to fold or bow the head to seal your practice with gratitude. Peace. Thank you, friends. Have a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see you next week. Thanks all. Bye-bye.